So I would say about 80% of my business in the very beginning was coming from that. My name is Mike Z. Hawk. I'm with eXp Realty in California, and I have a team of about 7 agents total. And my team is we're under Desert City's home. It's in the Greater Coachella Valley area, also known as Greater Palm Springs area in California. One of the things that sets us apart, I think, as a whole, is our knowledge in the industry. And I've been doing this for almost 20 years, closing almost 20 years. And the agents that we do have in our team, they are able to take advantage of that. And knowledge is power, no matter what. And I think another biggest asset that we have is trust. I think if you don't have trust in this business with your clients and vice versa, this could be a business or a disaster waiting to happen. But this is something that we value ourselves on very much.
And were you doing anything before jumping in with Sync for lead gen or a CRM?
I started back in '05, '06, and then jumped into the Bancon era. And so I was very successful at that and did that for almost 5 years. Kind of got burnt out quite a bit. And then I took a bit of a, uh, um, I don't know, stepped away from real estate back in 2012 for just about I don't even want to call it like a year, maybe year and a half at the most. I was still doing real estate, but I kind of took a step back because I was just so exhausted from the REO industry. And then I came back full time as a traditional real estate agent, and because that's what I love doing, traditional real estate. And I joined the team at the time who I was introduced to coaching, real estate coaching, with Tom Ferry. And so at that moment, I still didn't have Commissions Inc. But my team leader at the time was involved in other sort of lead generation, like Zillow and Realtor.com, that sort of stuff. Then I kind of took a step back from the team, and the team kind of went away on its own. Team leader moved out of the area, so I went on my own on coaching, and my coach recommended that I come to Commissions Inc. Um, and that was it. I made the choice, and at the time, I had options for other platforms similar to yours. I found your platform to be the most suitable for me, and it has been amazing and very fruitful for me for the last 9 years. I'm happy exactly where I'm at, and I'm not changing. And the website that I have you with you guys, I can a lot of natural, on the Google platform. So I have no intention of going anywhere. And if anything, I want to grow even further. So as my team grows further.
Do you mind sharing like maybe something that set Sync apart then or even now?
You know, going back 9 years, so I gotta go back to my memory here. I think when I looked at the other platform, your platform looked way more user friendly to me. For myself at the time, and I thought it was going to be user friendly for our clients as well. So especially they're going to be browsing through and everything you guys had, and us being able to see what the clients were viewing properties and how many times, and letting us know every time that somebody views a property more than 5 times, and you get a ding on that, and so we get to follow through on those, and those made a huge difference at the time. I mean, nowadays it's a little different story because your platform has evolved in many different ways, just like everybody else has, right? And in the industry. So, but yeah, I would say the platform itself was the biggest key. Like it was more user friendly than most that I found at the time.
I know you've had good success. If you know, like roughly how much of your business you can attribute back to either a direct sync lead or some kind of connected sync lead.
Going back to where I was coming from in the business, because I didn't grow up in this area, right? So when it comes to that, I didn't have a network already built up. So when I moved here back in 2005, 2006, started a business that was ground up. And when I went to bank on industry, I didn't really build up a network of clients or referral base because I was strictly working with banks at the moment. And so when I came out of it, and I joined it, went back to traditional real estate, it was kind of tough to find like how to meet clients. I think, anytime we start the real estate, or any new agent start real estate, we always try to figure out like how are we gonna get the next buyer or the next seller. So this platform would allowing me to meet the people that I would never meet, even though like our area is it's a very resort style area. So even though we think like everybody knows everyone, but that's not the case, especially if you're coming from Oregon or or Washington or Canada. You'd be surprised how many people they're not represented or they don't know another agent. So they're being able to capture them and be able to nurture them. And I was able to take advantage of that quite a bit in the beginning. So I would say about 80% of my business in the very beginning was coming from that. Now, having said that, success didn't come overnight with that. These leads sometimes, because of where we are, it's not a necessity. It's a luxury for most. So they can easily, wait a couple of years. But I would say my first sales started coming from commissions like within about 7 to 8 months. And after that, it just started happening one after another. And as you are representing a client and you do a great job, you get a referral from those clients. And so I have created a referral base just from the clients that I represented that I met through Commission Sync. So that has become a big part of my business. So like today, it's almost hard to say like what percentage come from that. I really have to go back and check, but initially it was 80%, but still to this day, um, my agents are getting a lot of leads through Commission Sync as we speak, and they're able to convert them. And I'd like to believe my conversion rate is fairly decent or higher than most, because we're super. I don't want to say aggressive. We're nurturing and understanding of our clients' needs, especially if your client tells you, "Hey, listen, I don't want to be bothered for the next 3 months." Okay, we're not going to bother you for the next 3 months, but in 3 months we are going to touch base with you and see where it goes. So it's a big portion of our business did come from it, and it still is. I'll tell you where I've met developers through this platform, which I'm getting ready to do a big development of 72 homes in Palm Springs, which average home price will be anywhere in $2.5 to $3 million. And this particular client did come through this platform, a Canadian developer who was seeking out local real estate agent. I was one of the ones that was interviewed and was hired to do this job. But I wouldn't have met them if it wasn't for this platform. I can guarantee you that. And I have so many success stories that I'm currently working with another client who is getting ready to purchase a $25 million home, who I met 4 years ago. So, I mean, having said that, I met them 4 years ago, but like I said, this area is not a necessity, it's a luxury. So when you're ready, you're ready. And right now, we're actively looking for a home in the area. And believe it or not, our area still has some high-end properties like this, but in a only small portion of the area. So that is something we're working with. I'm working with another client who I met through this platform about 2.5 years ago, getting ready to do multiple commercial projects in the area and other developments as well. So I can go on and on about who I have met and how I nurtured them. I think this platform, at the end of the day, you guys can only do to a certain point so much. The rest is up to us, because you are basically taking us to the water and now you're telling us to drink it, right? So we just got to be able to drink it. And how much, how little, that's all up to us. But that's where I think the success comes in. And even in my team members, initially when they first join, I tell them, listen, this is a gold mine. And I think in my platform, since I've been with you guys for a very long time, I have nearly 9,000 plus leads altogether. It was getting to a point I could not handle everything myself. So that's when I started generating teams, or team members where I needed help with. And initially, a lot of these team members, they did not believe that this was a good source, because you get a lot of no's, which is okay, but we live for the yeses, right? Or we live for the people that need help, because there are a lot of people out there, including myself. When I know I'm not looking for something, in a car or some other product, I accidentally sign up somewhere and I have no intention of buying, but I'm just looking. And you have people like that in the industry as well. So, but those agents are now big believer, as majority of their business right now is that, because you run out of your friends and family very quickly. right? And you can base your business based off of that. So you have to have a other source that coming to you, because otherwise nobody's going to pick up that phone and just call you because, oh, I heard you're a real estate agent and I want to do business with you. So this platform allows us to reach out to those people, and that has been the most successful part for us.
Specifically, pay after close is a question that comes up a lot, and how, like, why would I use CINC or do, pay-per-click leads when I could pay once the transaction is closed? Do you have a hot take on that?
Yes, and okay, I'll tell you why I don't like that option. When somebody sends me a referral, I'm like, hey, we're referral based only, and 9 times out of 10, it's not as straightforward as it makes it sound like. I get those phone calls almost every day. As a real estate professional, believe me, we get more spam calls than anybody else in the industry. And when I get those calls, the first thing is, what do you want me to pay up front? That's when they go like, well, let me tell you, they always want to avoid their subject. But immediately once I get to that point, there's always an upfront fee. Or if you want to get that lead before anybody else, I'll give you a perfect example. Sold.com. Um, yes, doesn't matter how qualified you are, but if you're the one paying them, you get at the top of the list, right? Yeah, otherwise it's free. But if you are hundredth on the list, you'll never get that lead, right? The people that are paying, and they usually have two agents per zip code, and they say we're referral based only, and they'll always tell you, okay, you're gonna pay instead of 35% referral, you pay 30% referral. I'm not a big fan of those. I would rather pay and own those leads myself and pay per click, have more control over it on my side, and have a way I want to disperse that in the future along, within my team. That's up to me. But and yeah, you do pay a little bit of price up front for that. I think there's always a price to be paid, but you are also paying the other ways as well. It just doesn't make it sound like it in the beginning, but you are always paying. So, and when you're going pay at closing, nobody can guarantee closing. Even though I've heard that over and over, oh, we guarantee closing. Nobody can. I've seen closing fall apart at the very last day of closing, and had nothing to do with the buyer or the seller or the property. This unusual circumstances happens, and there's no guarantee for that. So I'm not a fan of that. And including my teammates, they always get those phone calls too. And I'm like, hey, listen, you're welcome to take those on. Just remember, ask them what is the upfront fee, and there's always a catch, and they don't tell you that. So I'm not a fan of that, and they still gets a big commission. Your check that you pay, but I think at the end of the day, you lose money that way rather than going this route where PPC, you get to keep most of your money and disperse it any way you shape or form you like. It's a great business model. Don't get me wrong. If some agents are comfortable with that, and that's great. That's good for them. And not every agents out there can afford in the beginning to pay, platforms like Commission Sync. Let's face it, this is not a free platform. This is not a cheap platform. It's a platform that provides value, and value comes with the cost, right? So you just have to deal with the cost because this is a value. Just like when we go to our clients, we're asked for a commission amount, whatever it is, we're providing a value and we want to get paid for what we're valued at. So it's no different.
With everything going on with the NAR settlement and people, I don't know, sometimes being nervous now about buyer leads versus seller leads, why are you still bullish on online buyer leads?
So I'm bullish on both. I do buyer and seller leads because obviously, if you go back ages, listing is the name of the game, right? That was a tagline we always believed in, but not always the truth. But you do need listings, but you also need buyers in the industry. But I go on both side of it, and at the end of the day, you need both. One can't be done without the other. Buyers are still going to need help, and sellers are still going to need to sell. And with all this settlement issue that we have going on, to be honest, I'm not too worried about that because at the end of the day, some things are going to change and some things does require change because I don't think it's good to good to continue to move forward with what we have going on right now because some adjustment need to be made. I deal with the agents on a daily basis where I wish that they had more training. I wish they had proper mentorship, and I try to bring them on or I try to help them as much as I can. But you do get a lot of brand new agents that are representing their clients not to best of their ability, and all it makes other people's job even harder, including who has been in the industry for a very long time, like myself. So those settlements, I think it was due sooner or later, but some good things are coming off of it, and also some bad things are coming off of it. But you know what? We take the best of what we can and just move forward and just make the change. Everything's always going to change. That's one thing that will always happen in our business. And as a real estate professional, we know change is inevitable. And not only that, there's nothing ever guaranteed. I always joke around and say, anytime you sell a listing, you just got fired. Now you have to go get a new job or represent a buyer. It doesn't matter, right? You literally did your job. Now you're fired. And you have to go get a new job, but meaning new clients. So we are always looking for new option, new projects, new clientele, and best way that we can serve our people. So those are the how we represent ourselves is going to bring in more clientele in the future. So those NAR settlement, there's some. I don't want to go into details about that. I think everybody's being very vocal about that. But at the end of the day, I think some changes was needed regardless.
If somebody is new to lead gen, what is your advice to them?
Don't give up. 6 months or even a year. It may not sound like it's working, but believe me, it's working. And not only that, more leads that are coming your way, more conversations you're having. At bare minimum, you're getting a practice of script practicing or whatever it is, or being able to practice your sales pitch or the elevator pitch, whatever you want to call it. You get to practice that, and as you do it, you get better each time and you get to learn how people behave because on those platforms you get to meet all kind of people like the CEOs from Fortune 500 companies to somebody that's buying $100,000 property, a mobile home. So you get to meet everyone and everything in between. So you have to be able to be versatile and be able to communicate. So be patient, continue with it, and it does pay off. And um, I couldn't even tell you. I think I should literally do this and sit down and when I have a little bit of time or have somebody do it for me. The ROI that I've had with Commissions Inc. It's at this point it's way beyond what I've paid. I mean, without a doubt, it's way beyond what I've paid. So, and I've had the situation where the other examples I gave, like 25 million, and the other developers are coming through because of this, and those are creating residual income, and those sales are going to be 150 to 180 million dollars just from that one project. But through these other clients, just one client that I met in 2015, right after I actually started this in Commissions Inc., this particular client has offered me or sent me so many referrals. I think we're over 20 million today just from this one particular client. She's from Canada, and they love being in the desert, the heat, and she refers all her family members, all her friends, and she will continue to do so. I know that without a doubt. And so you never know where this ends up. Just because it may not work right now, because a lot of times we're like, oh, it's not working because I've been with him for 3 months and all these phone calls are crap. Sure, that could happen, but you never know. One of those phone calls, even though they're buying something for 300,000, 400,000, they may know someone even bigger or something. You never know that where that can particular transaction can take you. So I never say no to. I don't care what it is, a mobile home or a multi-million dollar mansion. I don't care because everybody has the right to get service first of all, and we provide that to everyone and anybody. For places like us, most clients are not buying for at least a year and a half to 2 years. So we're used to that, and I think when you go somewhere coastal areas in California or somewhere where people need to live versus a luxury, it's a different situation. And for us, it's definitely not a must. It's a luxury all the time. So we I'll tell you, I just put a client in under contract who I met back in 2016 through this platform. So it's been over 8 years. Finally put it under contract. It was the right timing, right? They would come down twice a year from Washington, and they finally decided on something, and it worked out. So it's all about nurturing, and that's the whole thing about the PPC, right? It's not they're not meant to stay there forever because you got to take over and give them that personal service. But if you're hoping Sync is going to sell for you, that's probably not the right mindset because Sync is bringing the people to you. It after that, it's up to you. And if you can't convert, it's not the client or it's not the platform, it's you. You need to get better at converting. And if you're not good at it, get some mentorship, get some help, and try to find out what you're saying may or may not be working on how you're saying it. So get better at that rather than blaming everything else around you. Because there's so many agents out there who are like, oh, I was with this brokerage, it didn't work for me. This brokerage didn't work for me. To me, brokerage doesn't matter at all. At the end of the day, people come work with me because of me. It's not because of brokerage. Most of my clients in the last 20 years, you can ask them, hey, what brokerage are you with? They probably don't even know. They don't even care who you're with. They work with you because of who you are. So that's the mindset we need to have. It's instead of just blaming the platform or this, if this doesn't work, that doesn't work. Because at the end of the day, PPC, what comes through, it's not controlled by anyone, right? I can sign up through PPC and have absolutely no intention of buying and giving a fake number because I don't want to be bothered, right? Because I just wanted to look at something. But if I'm serious, I am going to give the right information because at that moment I want that information. And we do get a lot of those, and we're able to convert them. So you got to look for the right ones. Just don't worry about the bad ones. You're going to get a lot of bad ones. It's just the reality. And I have this conversation with my teams every week on a team meeting because they'll be like, oh my God, I just get hung up on or people don't answer. I'm like, that's okay. Then I remind them like, well, remember that like two closings that you had last month? Where did they come from? It was from Commission Sync. And so I always talk about focus on the right clients because there's going to be plenty. Out of 100, if you got capture 5 good ones and you're nurturing and one of them end up buying in the next 3 months, it's a win. And you just convert them over and over and over. And before you know it, in a couple of years, you're going to have so much business. And that's what ended up happening to me, why I had to grow a team because I could not manage these leads anymore. And it was one of those things I keep increasing the leads amount because I'm not gonna lie, it becomes addiction. I'm like, oh, I want more, I want more. Then next thing you realize, I can't handle more by myself. Then that's when you need help. So, and I hope that's where everybody gets to. You can find us at desertcitieshome.com, and you can find us on social media, any platform you go to, Desert Cities Home, home, just one home, not two. Desertcitieshome.com on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Find us anytime. But also, if you are in the desert, come say hello. And if I can help educate anyone in the industry or just in our general area in California, I'm always happy to do so. Or just via phone call, doesn't have to be here.